Will is the key. Willpower. I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I don't know much as you do, I'm sure. I'm sure everybody in here is more learned than I, much more of a scholar than I. But I know about coming back from seemingly unsurmountable odds. I know about coming back from when doctors tell you that you can't or that you shouldn't. Now, sir, because of your diagnosis, and don't do a damn thing. Bullshit. Hell no. Every time I go to the doctor, they tell me what I shouldn't be doing, and what I should be doing, and what I won't do, and what I can't do. And I politely go out the door and do whatever the fuck I want to do. And I'm gonna do that until they throw dirt on top of me. This is my life. And I choose to live it the way I want to live it. I won't let you decide how I live this life. I don't care how long or short it is. It's mine, motherfucker. And I'm gonna use it how I see fit. What motivates you? Your story motivates me. Your story motivates me. The stories of extreme will. People that came through something or circumstances that they were not supposed to go through. You just ain't supposed to be able to do it. But he did it any goddamn way. It is impossible until some crazy son of a bitch has the audacity to believe that no matter what the expert or the doctor says, I can still do that shit. And if you don't believe it, just sit your ass down over there and watch me do it. How do you teach people to not look at something and say immediately, because the appearance, I can't do it, I give up, before they even attempt it? Oh, that's overtraining. Simply because it sounds like more than I ever done before. I can't do that. I won't even try. I won't even try. I give up before I even try. No. Oh, I tried, but I fell short. I tried my best, but I fell short. Is there victory in that? Goddamn right it is.
I couldn't tell you how many times I've had this conversation. You still use cocaine even though you were addicted to cocaine? How is that possible? Well, I don't drink, and I used to drink, but I was never an alcoholic. I smoked cigarettes. I never thought in a million years that I could quit. Never even thought about quitting, and I did. And what I tell them, whoever asks me this, especially in regards to cocaine, it's all about understanding the need. Once you understand the need of what you're doing, it's very easy to evaluate why you're using the drug or doing anything. It's just that simple. once I realized while I was using cocaine, of course it was an evolution of needs, but it simply evolved into only using it when I need it. Cigarettes. Well, I didn't really kind of quit. I still vape, right? But at the same time, it's still kind of quitting, and I'll tell you why. Because you're still making the change. You're still. I still crave cigarettes. I do. The craving for cigarettes never goes away. It's just it got to the point where cigarettes became inconvenient in my life. So that's why it was easy to quit. Because I had to find another way of getting what I needed from a cigarette. Because I couldn't enjoy the cigarette, the process of a cigarette. I couldn't maintain a lifestyle of smoking. Did I say that right? I had to find another way to enjoy that cigarette or enjoy that satisfaction you get from nicotine. And the vape was a perfect answer for that. Alcohol. Yes, I used to drink a lot. Would I consider myself an alcoholic at the time? At any point? No, I wouldn't consider that. But when I drank, I fucking drank, and booze has got me into more bad decisions than anything. That's been the worst thing. Once I start drinking, I just go completely off the rails as far as my judgment. You know, I used to think it was because of the cocaine. It wasn't. Once I understood what bipolar was and that it was an emotional disorder, well, there's nothing that'll fuck up your emotions like freaking alcohol. You know, that'll bring out the emotions in you like no other thing. And you guys can agree with me with that. So, it was really simple. Well, if I want to manage my mental illness of bipolar, well, I shouldn't be drinking because it's not doing anything to benefit me. Can I still drink? Do I still drink? Yeah. The right time, the right place, yeah, I'll have a drink. The right time, right place, I'll have more than one drink. I never drink alone. I mean, never, ever drink alone. That would be like, I wouldn't say suicide, but that would be an emotional, yeah, that'd be just fucking stupid. Yeah, and I tell them basically what I'm telling you guys in camera, and they're like, You know, you don't know if they're getting it or they're just like, this guy is fucking out of his mind. But it's the truth. You know, I'll give you a perfect example. Why don't you keep... You know when you got the munchies and you keep eating and eating and eating? Well, you eventually stop, right? Why do you stop? Because you don't need to eat anymore. You're fucking full, right? You're fucking right to the max, right? You don't have to be hungry to eat. You got the urge to eat, but there's always a point where your body's saying, "No, I've had enough. I don't need that anymore." So understanding that too makes it very easy as well. Like, whenever I use cocaine, I use when I need to use for the given situation. Mostly it's for problem solving. But I get a gram. I never go 2 grams, 3 grams, 4-day benders. Don't get me wrong, there's been days in the past couple of years where, you know, I've went a little overboard sometimes, but I'm saying generally it's always just what I need it for, solves the problem I need to solve, it does what it needs to do, and that's it. There's absolutely no desire to call the dealer back at 3 a.m. or, you know, to buy a ball or, you know, to use the next day. It just isn't there because I know what it's doing for me. I get what I need from the drug. Just like you get a headache, you take an aspirin. You know, when the headache's gone, you don't continue to take the aspirin. You know, and it's just that simple. It's just that simple. Understanding why you need, understanding the need why you're doing what you're doing. And that applies to everything. It just applies to everything. I can sit here and go through the evolution of why I use cocaine, but really, it's kind of futile. I've been talking about I have 400 years of videos on there taking you through the evolution of that. The only thing that I crave is cigarettes. Like, especially in the car. I still crave a cigarette, especially if I'm on a road trip. If I'm driving to Toronto or Montreal or going to see my sister or my mom. There's nothing like fucking sunny day, blasting tunes, and you got this nice smoke going with the window down and the air conditioner on, right? There's nothing better than that, right? But, it's pretty easy to fight off. But I still think of it. Do I ever crave a drink? No, I never crave a drink. I just don't. Just because there's nothing positive in my brain that goes, yeah, let's have a drink. There's no positive reinforcement when it comes to alcohol. What about, do I crave cocaine? I do when it comes to sex. That's pretty much the only time. If I'm feeling sexual or hypersexual, yeah, I want to do cocaine. I don't think that feeling will ever go away because that was such a big part of my life, right? So, if I'm in the mood, or if I'm with someone, yeah, absolutely. I really crave it too. Food. Well, I've been doing this bodybuilding lifestyle for so long now, and I don't know, does this even apply? Because we can go on and on with different addictions, right? Like, I eat for purpose. Right? Of course, it wasn't always that way. I've had years of eating just pure shit, right? Like anybody else. But it's I'm sorry if you don't believe me. It's just the fact that it's true. Just because you can't control your addictions doesn't mean it's possible for someone to control it. It doesn't mean if you're a recovering alcoholic, that's not possible for an alcoholic to have a drink and stop at a drink. It is possible. It's very possible. I don't want much more to say to that. And it's a question I'm getting a little annoyed with. I'm not annoyed with. It's just it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. Because you can just see the look in their face. They're just like, what do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to tell you? What should I do? Have both of my dealers sit here and tell you? I'll tell you the truth, right? No, and it's not. I'm not trying to brag here. It's not about being braggadocious. It's just getting people to understand, that there's more to addiction than addiction. There's once you realize why you need something, it's a very simple process. But it's getting to that. It's understanding that need that can be difficult. Especially with me and cocaine, there was so many reasons I wasn't aware of that I was using cocaine, and those everything was kind of intertwined with each other. So, if we take sex for example, well, if I'm in a relationship, I certainly can't stop having sex, right? And everything is kind of connected. Problem solving. Well, I can't just stop solving problems, So there's a lot of things that are connected where it's just like you can't, it's just not a matter of quitting. You have to understand the underlying issue why you're using the drug, and then, okay, well, that's why I'm using it. What's wrong with this that's causing me to use that? And that's a pretty huge process to go through, especially if it's more than one reason. If it's just a simple thing like, well, I'm alone, so that's why I'm using drugs, or you had a trauma and you don't want to think about it and use drugs or alcohol. I said a long, long time ago, use drugs and alcohol to solve your problems, not run away from them, right? And I've always kind of had that philosophy for the longest time. Turn it around. When I wrote these commandments, years ago, one of the philosophies was turn your negatives into positives. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if I'm going to be addicted to this drug, how do I make it work for me instead of fucking causing me problems? If I'm going to be addicted to this drug, how do I make it work for me? How do I make it worth the money I'm spending on? Like, I got to get something out of this, or realize what I'm getting out of this. So maybe it's going to be negative this way, but if I use it correctly, or in a way that benefits me, then it's not half bad. Honestly, I don't know if, I don't know for sure, like I'm not a scientist or doctor, but I don't really know if cocaine is bad for you. In small amounts and in a non-abusive form. I know if you're abusing it and you're doing a ball a day, 7 a day, I know you could have some gum issues, teeth issues, and you have some nasal issues. It can be harmful that way because there are some harsh chemicals in it. But I'm just saying, an oxy pill or something like that will do so much damage to your liver than I think than cocaine ever will. So I'm not saying one drug's better than another. These are questions I asked myself. Believe me, I thought of other alternatives. Well, can I solve my problems with my mental illness any other way? Is there any other avenue that I can take that'll benefit me the way this does? And the answer was no. I've talked lots about medication. And I remember I was telling you guys a story. When I was first put on medication, of course I was still using, but what ended up happening was, for some reason, the medication I was on affected the coming down process of the cocaine. So there was no coming down off cocaine. So it was just like a cocaine high all the time. It was like perfect. So obviously my abuse went through the fucking roof. But it didn't take me too long to realize that, And the answer will people say, well, if you're going to take the medication, just get off the cocaine. Well, the medication is not helping me in any way. Oh, okay, you want me to go through the process of finding the right medication over the next couple of years, and let's hope I don't fucking kill myself during the process? And I think, and what's really, really the kicker out of all this, the only way cocaine ever was a negative in my life was just because it was expensive as hell. It was the financings, was the finances behind that lifestyle. It can be very, very expensive, especially if your habit's costing you $300 or $400 a week, right? And you're spending, $1,500. Well, that's half your monthly salary or a quarter of your monthly salary, so it's quite a bit. So if cocaine was the price of if it was legal and it was the price of aspirin, the financial hardships that comes with addiction would fade away, So, that's my fucking 2 cents on this. Hopefully, I ain't gonna be talking about this again because it is getting pretty old by now, and that's just the fucking truth. That's just the truth. It's really that easy. Like, I've never been to a rehab center or anything like a treatment center or anything like that, so I don't know what they tell people who have addiction problems. I don't know if there's someone there telling them exactly what I'm telling you. You know, why do you think you're addicted? Like, because it's filling a need, right? So you have to figure out why, what that need is. What is it doing for you? Because trust me, if it's not, you know, like dill pickles, okay? Well, I'm not craving a dill pickle. Why? Because I don't need having a dill pickle right here, right now, doesn't do anything for me. It's the same philosophy. Yeah, it's the same philosophy. I'm not craving a line or a cigarette or a glass of booze or a piece of cake right now. If I was, there'd be a reason why I was. Well, you can't really maybe throw food in there. Well, maybe that was a bad example. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but because I think addictions should have different levels, right? I don't think it's a control thing, because we really don't have a control over anything. I think it's just more about use and abuse, right? Now, someone who here, I got a scenario for you. Let's say a lawyer making $100,000 a year is a cocaine user, and you have someone who on welfare who's a cocaine user. So the lawyer spends $25,000, a quarter of his salary, on cocaine, which is worse. And you have the welfare recipient who spends $250 of his $1,000 on cocaine. Who do you think's got the biggest problem? The lawyer spending $25,000, or the welfare recipient that's spending $250 a week? So that'd be 52. Was that 7,000? Something like that. Is that right? I'm not sure. Okay. Well, anyways, but you guys know what I'm saying. Well, yes, he would be doing a lot more cocaine, right, and spending a lot more money, but financially, it wouldn't really affect his life. So, is cocaine really negatively impacting his life? You know, is he abusing it? And then you have the welfare recipient spending like a quarter of his paycheck. He's barely got enough money for food now, but it's a lot less drugs that he's using, but it's impacting his life more in a negative way. So, who's got the biggest problem? That's a pretty fair question, right? This one's doing 30 times, 25 times more friggin' volume of cocaine than this person, but it's hurting this person's life more negatively, right? So it's an interesting philosophical question, and those are the kinds of questions that I ask myself when I went through this process over the 9 years. I ask myself questions like that. You know, what's the benefit if I don't use cocaine and spend that $100 or whatever to solve a certain problem at a certain point in my life, or whatever I was using it for? Oh, what's the result if I don't do it? Is that going to cost me more in the long run? So even though it costs me $100, whatever, $80, whatever it is that I'm spending at the time, which may seem like a lot of money at the time, but if I don't, will it cost me more on the other end, right? So I always kind of try and be rational about that kind of thing through my process over the years. And like I said, you know, I'm not going to fucking sit here and lie to you guys and tell you that I've never gone off the rails. I have. There's times where right time, right place, right mindset, you know, there is definitely a loss of control. Absolutely, without a doubt. But that goes without saying with anything. There's times where I pride myself on keeping the speed limit when I'm in an elevated state, you know, hypomanic, manic. But there's times, very rare, but you'll see me doing 120 on the Queens Road. I'm like, ooh, fuck it, just leave it at 120. Traffic seems to be going that way, right? It's the same philosophical mindset. It's the same thing. Anyways, that's it. Hopefully, I've answered that question for you guys, and then some. Right? Alright, that's it. So I'll see you guys again. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless you all. So, talk about timing and happenstance, right? What are the odds? So, I just finished editing this video. I was about to post it, and the phone rings, and it was a girlfriend of mine, and wished me a happy new year. She says, "What are you up to?" I said, "Well, I just finished editing a video and I'm about to post it." She said, "What's it about?" So I tell her, and so she asked me a very legitimate question, and that I should include in the video, and I'll do that now. She says, "Well, Scotty, under what circumstances would you stop using cocaine?" I told her, very simple. If I was in a relationship and with the right person, and if that person, if I could trust that person to make the best best decisions for in our both best interests, and I trusted her completely, then absolutely I would quit. Um, it's just that simple because she would replace what the drug is doing for me, so there's no reason to use the drug anymore. And she says, "Well, what about the connection with sex?" I said, "Well, that the hypersexual, even though it's still like craving a cigarette, it's not something that impacts my life in a negative way. So it'd be just a simple. It would be just a matter of just communicating that issue with her, and and that's it. It'd be so simple. Would there be a danger in using cocaine and having sex with her and it becoming a problem in the relationship? We would talk about that. It'd be that simple. And that's a decision I couldn't make until we've had that conversation. And it's just really that simple, right? It's like what I was talking about. It's all about need. Well, if she's fulfilling that need for me, there's no reason for me to use a drug, right? That would be the only alternative. And it's just that simple. Um, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I should add to that, because this is actually a valid point, right? Because I'm sure someone watching the video would answer, would want to know that question. Well, under what circumstances would you quit? And that would be it. I would definitely show her how the process works. So let's say we're not living together, but we're just kind of dating in that, and she's aware of my issues and so on and so forth. Um, I would definitely invite her to go through the process, be with me through the process. So she would understand what the drug does for me and the way I use it. And she doesn't have to understand my mental illness. All she has to understand is the process in which I manage it. So for example, if there was, let's say, like I said, if there's a life decision that I have to make, say we're dating, and a decision comes up where it's important enough that I have to use the bridge to make that determination. So what I'd probably end up doing would I'd communicate the problem, whether we talk about it, and then I would say, "Listen, let's not. I don't want any advice from you, but I want to show you how I handle this situation." She could very well say, "Oh, okay, I see the process you're going under. I understand that, and I accept that." You know, um, and that could work too. That could work too. Would I prefer it that way? No, I'd prefer us working together and coming up with the best solution. But oh, oh my God, this is this is one of those things where it's until you're right into the shit of the moment, it'd be hard to extrapolate, right? But I would definitely invite her to see that process because I think that'd be important. It'd be strange for me to have someone there during this. I don't even know how that would work, but um, getting high is not a very enjoyable thing for me. It really isn't. It's like taking Buckley's, to be honest with you. It really is. That's why so much that's why a lot of the times where it runs me a lot of money is I'll usually, because it's not a very pleasant situation for me, I'll invite sex into the mix, so it's not such a an unpleasant experience. I don't know if that made sense or not, but it's kind of what I've done in the past. You know, have the sex where you're high, and it kind of, and then deal with the bridge the next day and solve your problem or think about your problem and go through the process of elimination and work it out that way. Yeah. I don't think I've ever said this out loud before or even thought about this because I never, honestly, like I don't think the stuff that I've been going through is more about understanding the relationship process, the feelings, the courtship, more than what I would actually do in a relationship. So I wasn't like getting too ahead of myself. I'm like, okay, well, if I meet someone, this is what I need to understand. This is the process I need to understand more than, okay, now we're here, now what do we do? So I think this is the first time I've ever said this aloud. So sorry if it's a little scattered, but yeah, so if some of you guys are thinking of that while you're watching the video, there's your answer. Till I see you guys again, take care of yourself, take care of each other. God bless you all.